We're road tripping Eastern Europe for 30 days, driving over 4,000 miles to see the best the Balkans has to offer. So let's get on with today's video. We've arrived in Belgrade, but we have no idea where we're going or what we're doing. It's like 5:30 now, 5:45. So a lot of the things that Jack wants to do, like the historical stuff, are all closed, and we're sort of just walking along the riverfront now, hoping that we find something to do. We must be in the main part of the city centre now, but we're on our way to go and get some takeaway food because we're going to go to the fortress and watch the sunset from the fortress whilst having some food. We found a spot to eat on the castle wall. We've got our food. I've got myself some fries and a vegan vegan Philly cheesesteak. The sunset views from the castle was the perfect place to enjoy some food whilst looking over the city of Belgrade. And in the end, we even got to see some amateur football ultras smoke out a football game with flares. Now that we've watched the sunset over Belgrade Fortress and had our tea, it's time to head back to the van and find somewhere to sleep tonight because we have no idea where we're going to be sleeping with us being in a city centre. And the one thing we don't want is to be driving around for hours like we did the night we arrived in Serbia. We found a campsite just on the outskirts of Belgrade, but it was closed. We couldn't get in. We rang the bell a few times and they didn't answer, so now we're parked in a side street not far from the campsite, next to some parked cars. Hopefully we'll be fine all night. We're gonna get some sleep. We'll see you in the morning. We're back in Belgrade this morning and we're headed to the House of Flowers, which is where Tito, our old president during the communist era in Serbia, used to live. Quick correction, Jack just corrected me. President of Yugoslavia, not Serbia, because Serbia is obviously a part of Yugoslavia. But first, who was Josip Tito? Tito was a working class man, a metal worker by trade before being drafted in World War One. Once World War One finished, he joined the Yugoslavia Communist Party, where he quickly rose through the ranks and by World War Two was in control as the party leader. Tito led one of the most successful resistance groups during World War II, the Partisans of Yugoslavia. As leader, he successfully liberated Yugoslavia from Nazi control and was later named president of the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. The first part of the House of Flowers Museum is actually like a gift section of all the gifts that Tito was given from other countries and people throughout his lifetime. Right here you can see he got gifts from Mexico, from Greece. He was gifted this saddle from Algeria, a signed picture of JFK sent as a gift, and all these other leaders, which I think it's a little bit vain, isn't it, sending a signed picture of yourself as a gift. Here's a flag, the Yugoslavia flag, that was taken to the moon by the US and brought back with some moon rocks. Every year for his birthday, he used to get a baton from different places, like the army or maybe neighbouring countries, which is a little bit mad. He must have like hundreds of these throughout his home. Tito seems like quite a popular guy. He has awards from people all around the world, including a medal from Queen Elizabeth, and he has keys to different cities around the world, including LA. This whole museum hallway is like 200 meters long, and it is literally just filled side to side with gifts that was given to Tito from all around the world. Different leaders and different people in different organizations, they all just seem to give him gifts for his birthday and other things. He just seemed like a very popular person. The reason for Tito's popularity was probably more based on political strategy, because he was quite neutral in terms of East and West during the Cold War, as he didn't align with capitalism of the West, as he was a socialist leader, but he also didn't like Stalin, so he didn't really have a good relationship with the USSR, even though they were both socialist states. So the West were always trying to keep him on their side, even though their economies were completely different. Also, the House of Flowers isn't where Tito lived. It was a personal garden made from him just down the road from his actual residence. But it is where he was buried, because it was part of his request when he was dying that he be buried at his personal garden.
Tito is buried right behind me in the centre of this mausoleum, and his third wife is actually buried over on the left. You can't see her because of the pillow and the flowers, but he was buried here in 1980. Tito's funeral shows just how popular he was, as it was one of the biggest state funerals in history. It had around 700,000 people present and around 1 billion people tuned in to watch it. Tito's death in 1980 marked the beginning of the end for Yugoslavia, as 10 years later the wars in Yugoslavia started, which brought on a decade of fighting throughout the whole of Yugoslavia. So whatever his reign was like as the Yugoslavia leader, at least it was ruled with stability, as there was no fighting during his reign, as he gave a lot of devolved powers to the separate regions that made up Yugoslavia. Also, a funny story about Tito is that Stalin kept trying to have him assassinated, and he captured a lot of these assassins and sent a letter to Stalin saying, if you don't stop sending assassins to kill me, I'll send one to kill you, and I won't have to send a second. Now that we're finished in the Tito Museum, we are going to head off into the city centre again and go find a cafe, because we didn't find one on the way here. We've come to a cafe in the city centre called Visa, and we've got ourselves some drinks and food. The food's not came yet, but I've got myself an iced coffee, and it looks more like milk. It looks very creamy. Our food came, and I've got myself a nice bowl of noodles with tofu, and Jack's got himself a burger and fries. We've finished in Belgrade now, so we're gonna head to the Montenegro border. It's about 4 hours away from Belgrade, so we should get there around 9 p.m. Hopefully it won't be too busy and we can find a campsite close by, so we're not driving around for ages like we were when we arrived in Serbia. We stopped at a random town called Slatibor because we've seen a little and we need some food, and there is a fair going on in the town centre, so we're gonna go check it out. Hopefully we don't have to pay to actually get into the fair. The whole reason we came to the fair was to find magnets, and Jack was convinced they wouldn't have any. I'm so glad we found those magnets. We've stopped at so many petrol stations along the way trying to find them and not found them yet, and then Jack thought we weren't gonna get them at the fair, and lo and behold, they were there. Sorry. Hi. Do you need that for the van? Ciao. Thank you. Finally made it across the Serbian border into Montenegro. We pulled up and made our beds for tonight. We're gonna go to sleep. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you smash the like button. Comment below what your favourite part of Serbia was. And as always, keep exploring.